Hey, welcome to Blue Jay Banner Instant Reaction here on the YouTube channel Blue Jay Banner. Thanks for joining us. We want to thank our great sponsors, Equitable Bank, West Pacific Dental Group, and our new sponsor, Infusion Brewery, which you'll hear about later. And we're going to swing right into Coach's Corner. And joining us now is Assistant Head Coach Alan Huss. Hey, Coach, welcome.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's first of all, just your overall thoughts on the game?
A lot of credit goes to St. Thomas. They were scrappy. They were tough. They did some things. We had a really small sample size of what they were going to do with a bunch of new pieces, and basically one piece of a close scrimmage. They just were way more aggressive defensively, and then they made some decisions. It's actually kind of the same tagging scheme that UConn uses, kind of coming off the low man on the double side with all their tags. Which is not what they did during their scrimmage, something we hadn't really seen or practiced against. And we got a lot of good looks on those skips into those corner threes, and it didn't make them pay, and then tightened up a little bit on the offensive side of the ball. Just had a hard time scoring baskets. We haven't had a day like that really in practice yet, where we struggle to shoot the ball. And very rarely it is the case where we see something like that. We'll see it, a system very similar to that in UConn with some better athletes running it. But usually we have a couple of days to kind of prepare ourselves for the looks and the reads we're going to have to make. And it was just a little different than anything we'd worked against so far this year. And it threw us just a little bit out of rhythm. I thought defensively down the stretch, we did some really good things for about the last 15, 16 sessions of the ball game. We had a little bit of grit, a little bit of toughness. And again, it's something we don't see a ton, just a team in practice that can invert us and really get our bigs pulled away from the basket. And they did just that and made us look pretty average defensively at times also. So a lot of credit goes to them and their system, because they kind of exposed some of our weaknesses on both sides of the basketball.
I mean, with about, I think, 7, 8 minutes to go, they were shooting 55% from three. I think some of them were just, really good 3-point shots. Where do you find that balance? Like, how much do you say, well, I just shot the ball great, or, gee, we didn't make good enough closeouts?
I think it was a little bit about the teeth. They made of their 9 makes, probably 5 of them were really difficult shots that I don't know that they're going to make consistently. And we try to stay really true to the process and making sure we make them take the right ones. And if they hit some hard ones, try not to lose our minds. Coach Mack's pretty good about that. And he did a pretty good job of just kind of telling us to stay true to what we do. And probably the part that was a little bit disappointing was just kind of the lack of teeth, both in getting through ball screens. We've left Ryan on an island a lot tonight. Kalkbrenner got to do a better job of getting through, skinning up on those ball screens, and trying not to engage Ryan quite so easily. And then just our overall kind of lack of teeth into the basketball defensively was a little bit of something that hasn't looked the way it has in practice. They made us have long possessions, and they've got some experienced guys out there that were handling balls in some non-traditional places. A lot of 4-man and 5-man handling balls, facilitating offense with us really inverted. And we just probably didn't have the teeth we needed to into the basketball defensively to make them uncomfortable.
Coach, we really kind of saw in the second half Baylor take charge, and I think we all kind of saw that ability that he has. Obviously, he's able to shoot the basketball from deep, and he's really just a guy that can get the ball off a rebound and go and initiate offense. And he sees the floor extremely well. Seems to always kind of be 1 or 2 steps ahead of everybody. Is that something you guys have seen in practice, and since he stepped on campus in the summer, and we're kind of excited to see him take charge of that in the second half?
For sure. I mean, Baylor's best thing is he makes others better. And we didn't probably do a great job tonight of putting and Trey's kind of the same way. Trey's typically, we get the ball to him in a little bit better situations to facilitate as well. In our close scrimmage against Iowa State, you really saw that. He really facilitated, as did Baylor. But we got to do a better job just getting the basketball to second sides. And, they were just so willing to leave us wide open in corners on skips. There wasn't a ton of flow to our offense. I mean, it was just kind of get it to one side, look at the roll or look at the post up. They're going to swarm it, not allow us to get the ball into those, flip ups and post ups, and make us skip it. And it just kind of threw us out of rhythm. And it didn't pop around like it needed to. But yeah, to your point, Baylor, he did some good things. He facilitated. He made a couple nice plays for himself, a couple nice plays for others. We just got to get it moving earlier in possessions to those two guys in particular, Trey and Baylor, and let those guys make everybody better, because that's what they do.
Another point with them shooting the ball, you didn't get a chance to get out and run much.
No, and we took it out of the net a lot of times. And after really long possessions that kind of took the air out of the building, and all that was tough. It was just something that we hadn't seen. They had us so inverted. Those guys pulled so far out on the floor, and it's what's going to make them really, as they get more and more Division I caliber pieces in there, they're going to be really difficult because to guard. And that's why they've had the success that they've had between. I mean, they've got, I don't know, several national championships between head coach and associate head coach at the Division III level, and that's not because they're not good coaches. They know what they're doing, and they know how to invert offense. And they do a lot of those Michigan John Beilein type concepts that pull you away and put you in uncharacteristic situations. And like I said, it's just not something we practice against, and it's terrific practice for us going forward, because it's something at some point we're going to have to deal with if we want to get to the level we want to get to.
You spoke about the ball movement. How did you feel your point guards played today?
I mean, they kind of hard hedged and took the ball out of and made us skip it. So there wasn't the opportunity for them to get downhill like we'd probably like them to. So they were fine. I mean, I guess the silver lining of this whole deal is I think we only had 5 turnovers. That's obviously a big change from last year. You look at it, I think Nembhard was 5 assists and no turnovers. That being said, I didn't think he had his best stuff tonight. Now, he's been kind of nicked up with a groin that's been lingering a little bit. I don't know if he was quite 100%, but he was just, I would say he was an average today by his standards. And same goes for Sharif.
So yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask you about Sharif. Obviously, he hasn't had significant game minutes in quite some time. So he comes in off the bench and plays 8 to 9 minutes. And I know you guys would probably like to get him some more minutes along the way here. But what did you see from Sharif in his first game action in a long time?
I think you just said it. There was a little rust there. He's had some good moments for us, and I think it didn't show itself tonight. But he's a guy that's really worked hard at his shooting to become a guy that can really make shots. But there's an old saying that sometimes the best way to guard a shooter is to not guard him. You miss a couple of those when you're not getting guarded like that, and you start to look around and wonder if there's something to it. Maybe start second guessing yourself and all that type of stuff. So
yep.
I think that was kind of what happened tonight to him and Art for a little bit. And really all those guys. I mean, Francisco Farabella is a 50% 3-point shooter in live play this fall, and he's a career 40% 3-point shooter, and they left him wide open. They left Baylor wide open in corners. So, sometimes that's just the case, especially when, going into the game, we didn't know that's exactly how they were going to play it. Had we been able to kind of break some stuff down going into the game, kind of knowing that's what they're going to do to us, we would have put them in some really difficult situations early. And I think we could have probably taken advantage of that at a really high level by getting some guys in some places we want them and making it really difficult on them. But like I said, that's credit to them. They kind of did something a little different, and it bothered us.
Coach, was it just the flow of the game and the way the game played out where we didn't see Ben tonight?
Yeah, I think he's probably he's that guy. He's Coach Jeremy Anderson calls it, he's a window opportunity guy. I mean, he's a guy that some games might take a DNP, some games, if we have an injury or we have a guy that's maybe doesn't have it going, he's a guy that can come in and score 20 points. We haven't had the luxury in years past to having a guy like that to beat the 9th or 10th man. And he's just that guy that some games he's going to be a guy that plays a lot, and some games he's going to be a guy that doesn't. It's going to be a little bit of both.
What's the biggest improvement you want to see in practice for Thursday?
Yeah, we just need to be a little bit tougher. We've got to do a good job of stepping off and getting catches where we want them, not let physicality bother us, because they were the more physical team tonight. We got to get that rectified by before we step on the floor again. Then after that, we got to play with a little bit of confidence. We got to be prepared for a team that maybe plays us really soft and allows us to shoot standstill corner threes. We think we've got a team that can really shoot it. I think over time, I think you're going to find out that we do have a team that can really shoot it. But we got to probably get a few reps and just get their confidence back. And then defensively, we just got to dial back in. I haven't really seen much in North Dakota yet, but I'm guessing they're a little bit more traditional than what we saw today. So hopefully that gets Kalkbrenner back, a little bit closer to the rim. And I don't know if this made the telecast, or Kalkbrenner's been really sick and hadn't practiced in a couple days and been throwing up. So we got to get him healthy. That'll help too, because he just wasn't himself tonight. We got to hope that nobody else gets it too. So,
right.
We got to kind of get through that and get a little bit healthier and, step out there with some confidence and knock a few shots down. I think you'll see when you come out with a system like that, where they're just going to kind of give us corner threes. If we come out and make 5 out of our first 6, we win by 50 tonight. And it takes them out. It takes the teeth out of everything they're doing. But like I said, credit to them. They made a calculated decision to not guard some guys. We've certainly been on the other side of that at times with schemes we've used, where we've been able to really take the teeth out of and pace out of some teams' offense by really deciding who we're going to guard closely and who we're not. And we ate a little bit of our own medicine tonight, and it worked. You would think that doing that to other people, we would be a little bit better against it. We weren't tonight. That's kind of the way it went.
Kind of like when they say, team that likes to press them, right? Flip around.
Absolutely. I think that's what you saw tonight. They kind of used something. I mean, I don't know if in my 5 years here or 5 years in the game now, I mean, Coach Mack's done that 36 times, and we've really bottled some people up by doing it. So it's something that you got to be prepared to take advantage of. And I thought Mason stepped up and knocked a couple down, passed a couple others up that he can't pass up, because he is out there to shoot the ball for us. He's as good a 3-point shooter as we have, and he's got to take them when he's open. But with the rest of those guys, Parabella's going to be a 40% guy. Art's going to be a way better than a 1 for 7 guy. He's probably a mid-30s, low 40s guy. We got plenty of guys that can make threes. They'll step in and figure out a way to make them here. I'm guessing starting Thursday.
Well, I'm glad you said about Call, because that's kind of the way he looked at. He was a little under the weather. So
he didn't even shoot around today. He hasn't done anything. So he's been up, throwing up, and he was just in his own head a little bit on top of it, just because he's kind of that way. He's a perfectionist, and when things don't go well, he can get down on himself a little bit. But he took an IV just before the game to even be able to play tonight. Thankfully he gave us a little something. I think he still had, I don't know what it was, 9 and 8, maybe 8 and 9. So for a guy that hadn't practiced in a couple of days and wasn't feeling his best, it was nice that he went out there and gave us what he could.
Absolutely. Hey, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. See you on Thursday.
You bet, Coach. Thank you. That's assistant head coach Alan Huss joining us here on Instant Reaction. It's Tim and Ross. We will be joined shortly by Ben Schultzberg, who we just talked about a little bit. Ross, why don't you show everybody the our new sponsor, Infusion Brewery. We're going to be taste testing their different. And what do you got tonight? A Radial India Pale Ale.
That's what we got. That's what it says, man.
Let's crack that open. I have a one that I picked out, the Vanilla Bean Pumpkin Blonde.
I've had the vanilla bean many times.
Yeah, this is a little variation with the pumpkin in it, and it's not as sweet as you would think. It's a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit more bodied flavor. People go, vanilla bean, it's sweet, I don't like it. This is a pretty stout beer, so I like it. Oh, very refreshing.
It's good for somebody who's not really an IPA guy. Mine is tasty.
Yeah, and we just, I tweeted out we have plenty of the Let It Fly from Infusion Brewery as well. We just felt tonight probably wasn't the night to crack one, right? Like a lot of people walked out there thinking that was a loss. What did you think, Russ?
Just general thoughts on the game.
Yeah.
Not nothing. I mean, I don't have anything terribly dissimilar from what Coach Huss said. I mean, I think a lot of people will see the score and just think we played horribly and what in the world is going on and blah 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 blah. But it doesn't really tell the full story. I mean, they kind of played a unique defense and they played really hard. They're extremely well coached. We missed a lot of open jumpers that we're probably not always going to miss. And I know we didn't shoot the ball great from three last year.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Ben. How we doing? Can you flip
Doing
your
good.
phone
Oh,
around? There you
Is
go,
that
buddy.
is that better?
Perfect.
All right.
How you
there
doing,
we
man?
go.
Good to see you again.
Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Give us your thoughts of the game as you were watching that game tonight.
I thought, we came out a little lower energy than we should have. Um, it was really just on the defensive end. We're not gonna shoot like that every game. Like, I can tell you that. Like,
Sure.
we have guys who can shoot the ball very well, and they're gonna hit shots next game, but it's just about, locking in defensive end, communicating, and really just focusing on that for the next game, in my opinion.
Yeah, we were just talking with Coach Huss here a few minutes ago, and he was talking about you, and he said, "Hey, Ben's a guy that one game he might not play, and the next game he might score 20 for us. He's going to
hmm
be that valuable piece that we have coming off the bench. Obviously, the game was much tighter than a lot of people thought. Um, were were you kind of thinking as the game flowed along that maybe this would be a night maybe you wouldn't see a lot of action?
I was trying not to really think about that. It's not really how I really approach things. I'm kind of just trying to live in the moment, do whatever I can to help the team wins in that moment. And if that's me, cheering everyone on and giving high fives, then, that's what I have to do, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, I think you're mature enough and you've been around the game long enough to know that you're on a team that's really really deep and you've got a lot of talent and a lot of ability that can help this team, and it's gonna be one of those deals where your number is always gonna be called at a given notice, and so I think you certainly got the right approach there, and I actually stopped by practice yesterday, and so can you just now that you've got your first game under your belt here, can you just speak a little bit about what the preparation and practice is like when you're prepping for a team specifically and kind of running through their motions and getting some defensive reps against another team's motions and things of that nature?
I mean, we do that, of course. We scout and we do different things like that. We went over there, scout many times. I just think, we just have to lock in on implementing it a little bit more. I don't think we did poorly on the scout. I think it was more just the energy and the communication could have been better. And I think with that, everything would have kind of came full circle and worked out.
What were your impressions of St. Thomas? I mean, I thought they had a number of guys that were pretty skilled and that were well coached and they played hard. And I'm always curious from a player's perspective, what you thought of what they brought to the table.
Um, well, my opinion is that first of all, they have really nothing to lose. Like, they're coming in there, they have nothing to lose. They're coming in guns blazing. They're
Yep.
skilled, they're well coached. And also, we have like a huge target on our back. So we're going to get everyone's best game. They were hitting some crazy shots that, they probably wouldn't hit against other teams. And that's just what comes with the territory of being as highly ranked as we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
But they're well coached. They could shoot the ball. They were playing kind of small ball, which is not, great for us at times. And that's really about it. I felt like they were just hitting shots they don't usually hit. Um, we could have done a lot of things better defensively, but they had a great game as well.
We're talking with Ben Schultzberg of the Jays. So, what was it like being in that arena with a big crowd and the game atmosphere and everybody's
hmm
so pumped? What was it like?
I mean, it's surreal. Like, it's so loud, and everyone's so supportive. Of course, it was more the end when we started having the run, and it really got like loud and hype, and that was really incredible. Can't wait to be in there again.
It's the first year that they've had the pyrotechnics. What did you think of that?
The fire, is that the
Yeah,
fire?
yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. I was with Francisco, and he was like, "Yeah, this is college basketball," and I was like, "Yeah, this is crazy." It was kind of just surreal in the moment.
Yeah. Uh, what do you think the team needs to work on here before Thursday?
I'm gonna be honest. I in practice, I haven't. I feel like we're a much better team than what we showed. Uh, I just think, we need to come out with a different mindset and a different mentality going into the next game and kind of just put this behind us and just focus on just the energy part and, being communicating with each other a little bit better on defense, and the offense will come around. I really don't think that's any issue that we'll have, you know.
No,
So Ben,
I'm with you. I'm with you, Ben. A lot of times it's just comes down to making shots. I mean, shot
Yeah.
20 some percent from three. I mean, that's you guys. You know this. You and the rest of the team have all got great looking jumpers and have shown that you're capable of making them. And
hmm
listen,
And
it's
yeah, we
sometimes.
weren't shooting bad shots. Like, we were getting
No,
wide open threes. Like,
yep.
that's the way we want to play. Those are the shots we want to get. And sometimes it just doesn't go in, but we have to make up for it on the defensive end and be better on that end. So that's yeah, of
hey Ben, really appreciate you joining us after the game.
course.
Thanks so much. We'll be in touch in a couple of weeks. Have you on again, and hey, get some rest, get some practice in, and be ready to go Thursday because I got a good feeling your number is going to be called Thursday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thanks. It's Ben Schultzberg, freshman on the Jays team and Blue Jay Banners NIL guy. Toast to Ben. Toast to the victory. Hey, we're 1-0. Can't win them all if you don't win that first one.
That's right. That is correct, my friend.
Okay, so wow, what a show so far, huh? Coach's Corner. We got Ben Schultzberg on. This is amazing. If you go to Blue Jay Banner or excuse me, follow us on Twitter at Blue Jay Banner. We put up the link so you can join in, get it in the waiting room, and then we'll let you in. However, a couple rules. Number one, no profanity. Number two, let's talk Creighton basketball, St. Thomas basketball. That's what we want to talk about. Nothing else. But feel free to join in. Also, we have a chat feature on our YouTube channel. So go ahead. Give us your thoughts if you want to do it that way through chat. And for everybody watching us right now, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It helps us out so much and spreads the word about our not only Blue Jay Banner podcast, but our instant reaction post-game podcast. Jays win 72-60. So go ahead, join us if you can. Zach, we got any comments yet?
Yeah, we got one.
Okay.
Connor, know the university can't afford cheerleaders, but can we get Shireman headbands to everyone in the student section? Think it'd help the team tenfold.
Well, okay. I don't know if it helped the team, but it's a nice gesture, I guess, right? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Speaking of which, so Ross, were you there before the game started? Like plenty of time to see everything.
I got there basically the under 16 timeout. I was
Okay.
I was
Well,
locked into some other games.
Zach was working on getting this all put together as well. So I will, until we get somebody to join us, I will kind of break down what happened here. So they had a video about like just showed the Creighton campus and so forth. That was okay. And then they went to, everybody was waiting like what's going to happen at the introductions and what's going to happen. And so before the team came out, the lights came down. They had two pyrotechnic stands out there in the court like you've seen at football games, like you've seen at NBA games, shooting flames in the air. The team comes out. Everybody goes nuts. Everybody kind of got a little bit fired up for that. There was a song that was played that kind of had a good beat where the crowd could get into it, clap. However, hardly anybody did. They also started a new thing called Creighton Lights, where, and I've seen this at NBA games. I've seen it at, I think at a NFL game as well, where you go on the Creighton app, the regular Go Creighton app. There's a function called Creighton Lights. You hit that, you click through a couple things, and you just kind of wait and have it ready on your phone. And when that happens, the music is all synced up to your phone. So you hold your phone up and all the lights in the crowd like sync up to the music. It's pretty cool. Huh. We had about 20% participation tonight because people didn't know what was going on.
Right.
But that was kind of cool. I like that. I'll give credit for due. That's a good addition. I like that. Then the starting lineups come, the lights go down, they shoot out the flames again, and they play some song that just was everybody around me went, wow, this just brought everybody. Like they were playing a song. It wasn't really the old, song that we had by Kanye, where everybody could clap and get into it, on the introduction. It wasn't that way. It didn't have that kind of beat. Right. And it was really loud. And then Jake Ryan starts singing, now you're starting lineup for your Creighton Blue Jays. And he was trying to yell over the music. And it was just all a muddled mess, in my opinion.
Get it figured out.
Yeah, that part, they need to come up with just a short, it doesn't have to be a very long, it could be 30 seconds of some kind of pump up, Hey, I've been in favor of Thunderstruck, that's me, but something that really gets people going, and then announce the starting lineups. You got the Pyro out, they're great. Cheerleaders look good tonight. New unis, I liked them. They have the DJ back. Not a huge fan of the DJ.
I like Ivan Alvarez. I think he's great.
Here's the deal with him. He plays it's like he gets people going, and then because he's one of these DJs, he has to change the song, and then the next song has no beat or anything, and then everybody's like, oh, okay. You get everybody juiced, and then it just drops, and then juiced. And then joining him tonight was Josh Jones, who apparently is going to join him all season long, kind of like an MC to get the crowd going. I love Josh, but it was all right. I didn't feel it was, I don't know. And I'm just giving my objective opinions on this is a new regime coming in, doing this whole thing. Okay, but Ross, this is one thing you harp on. Oh my God, the student section.
Student section was good.
Holy God. That's the biggest student section I've seen. It was packed. And it was packed 20 minutes before game time.
They'll have some kinks to work out with the other stuff. I only heard Josh a couple of times. But I think if they utilize it more, they'll get that stuff figured out. Josh could be really good at that. He's got the perfect personality for something like that, depending on how much they're going to use him. But yeah, still a lot of Blue Crew action. Don't like that.
But they had less of a presence, I thought. Like they're not standing in front of the student section anymore. If you noticed,
I didn't notice. I
don't think they were down in front of the student section. They have some sort of signs in front of there now. So I don't think they're there. Frankly, Ross, I didn't notice them as much of a presence tonight, as much as I normally notice them. I don't know, just me.
No, I think I noticed them too much. Maybe that's on me, and it's my fault.
All right, hey, like we said, go to Blue Jay Banner on Twitter. We've got a link if you want to join us and give us some comments. We had some people in as Coach Huss joined, and then they dropped off. So feel free to jump in again. We'll let you get in the waiting room here, and we'll put you on. And also comment on the bottom of the screen on our YouTube page, as well as hit that submit button and a like button. Helps us out tons. By the way, thanks to everybody that's jumped on and supported us so far. We are leaps and bounds ahead of where we thought we'd be at this point, so that's great. We're still working out a few kinks, and we'll continue to do so, but we really, really appreciate it. until our logistics get all figured out on these home games. They may be a little bit later than we would like to do it, but we're working on that. Road games are going to be pretty, I would say, instant reaction. I mean, we're going to be about 5 minutes after the game's over. So I think you'll enjoy that. So what other thoughts did you have? I wanted to ask Coach Huss about the point guards, because that, when I was sitting in the stands, I've been like, okay, what would you take away here? Number one, to me, I thought our point guard play wasn't very good tonight. I thought it could have been much better. I thought they really didn't get the ball, and Coach Huss mentioned this, get the ball moving and get the ball in the right spots that we could succeed when we weren't hitting the 3-point shots. I thought, too, a little bit we settled a little bit for threes. I know that's what they were giving us at times, but I thought we settled a little bit. And then 3, obviously, it wasn't lost on me as I watched the game. I went, man, Kalkbrenner's not right. He just wasn't running the floor very well, and he just, you could tell he was under the weather. So that all considered, you understand the way that game evolved with him not being 100%.
Yeah, he was definitely. I mean, it was apparent now. After the fact, he was certainly under the weather. He just didn't look like himself. But they made it really difficult on him. I mean, the defense that they played, especially in the ball screen defense, and they were doing some pretty aggressive tagging and making it easy. They were not going to let our guards just come off of ball screens and play the flip up game and to call for easy layups and dunks, and that was something that they really wanted to take away. So I think I don't know. I hear you on the point guard play. I thought, quite honestly, I'm going to give a lot of credit to St. Thomas. I thought that they played really well. I thought that they were extremely well coached. I thought that they played really hard defensively, and they took away a lot of things that we typically have success doing in our offense, and we got a lot of wide open threes because of it. Just couldn't knock them down. And then obviously they made some really tough shots, and like Ben Stoltzberg said when he was on, they had nothing to lose. They played fearless, and they made things really interesting there for a second. But I think something like that, quite honestly, is a game like that, you come out of it, you're 28-point favorites or whatever the line was, and you have a little bit of a scare there. I think that ends up being actually potentially a positive going forward.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm sure around the country, if you looked at the scores, there weren't that many of the upper echelon teams that had problems tonight. So I'm sure
TCU beat Arkansas Pine Bluff by 1 point. I mean, there's some interesting ones.
Hey, I called that one, by the way. This is the only game tonight I got right.
What do you mean you called it?
That point spread. I thought that point spread was outrageous.
Oh, I thought you were saying you called it was going to be a 1 point game. I was like, no, you did not.
Oh, sure I did. Didn't you hear me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe
I thought Merrimack's projected. They can't play in the NCAA tournament because they haven't transitioned long enough, but they're predicted to win their conference. And I thought it was a 23-point game against St. John's, and I thought, oh God, they could make this a tight game. But to St. John's credit, they won by, I think, 27 or something like that. Villanova struggled a little bit with LaSalle.
Yeah, I watched a decent amount of Villanova, and LaSalle kind of made some things happen in the second half, but Villanova was pretty in control of that game for the most part. But I mean, I watched, there's some games I watched before heading over to ours. I mean, I watched the Stetson Florida State game. Stetson ends up winning the game.
Did they? Okay, I saw the final, and I couldn't remember who
they were up 16, 17 points in the first half. I mean, Sam Houston beats Oklahoma. So there's always going to be some of that.
Sam Houston beat Oklahoma?
Correct.
Wow.
So, I mean, some of the big time blue bloods, Duke, handle Jacksonville, and, Kentucky handle Howard and everything. But, here's another one. They ended up winning by about 20 or so, but UNO played pretty darn well on the road.
They did. Yeah, they did.
At KU. Yeah. We're in that game a little bit there in the second half.
Half, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I saw that. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, our good friend Steve Lutz they were in their game against Mississippi State into the second half, but then Mississippi State kind of pulled away. Yeah, you mentioned Oklahoma and who's the other team? Florida State. Two teams. By the way, just FYI, my bracket came out today on Stadium, so go at Stadium and you can see my bracket first of the year, and those are two teams that were in the field, Oklahoma and Florida State. So there you go. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's the new regime in college basketball. There's a lot of super seniors with the COVID year, and there's a lot of because of that, a lot of grad transfers. And I mean, there's a lot of transfers that are just immediately eligible. I watched a little bit kind of around lunch today. The Pacific Stanford game. Pacific was in that game for a long time there. They've got a number of guys that are transfers that come from the high major level. One of them's from Lincoln North Star, Donovan Williams, who was at Oklahoma State. He played pretty well today against Stanford. So you're going to see a lot of that. I mean, it's if you want to really dive into the weeds, you got to kind of if you're betting on these games, you got to kind of do your homework on some of these rosters. But some of these scores might surprise you more than you would otherwise anticipate just because of the transfer stuff.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I know Arkansas was in a battle too for a while, and I think they pulled it out. But yeah. So a lot of teams. Hey, I just want to mention Equitable Bank, our great sponsor, proudly serving Nebraska since 1882. They've got two great locations in Elkhorn on 204th, and then just north of the TD Mayer headquarters in the Old Mill area. Let them take care of your banking needs. Great staff. They do answer the phone on the first ring, and you won't be disappointed. That's Equitable Bank. They take banking personally, and they are the bank of Blue Jay Banner. And then West Pacific Dental Group. What a wonderful staff. I was there this morning for some dental work, some cleaning, some other work, and they're just great. Just what a friendly staff. Great service. They get you in, they get you out. You'll feel comfortable with their personalized service. So give Dr. Hogan, who was at the game tonight, a call, 402-697-0765, and make sure and tell them that Blue Jay Banner sent you. So go to West Pacific Dental Group and Dr. Hogan today. Ross and I talked about it. Infusion Brewery, good on their brewery down on Harrison, just adjacent to the interstate. Really cool tasting room. You can get some great deals on all the beers they have down there. They also have a tasting room over in Benson, and also in the old Bohemian Cafe on 13th. So go check out all their wonderful tasting rooms. Check out their great beers. We're going to be tasting them throughout the season. I got the vanilla bean pumpkin blonde tonight. Ross, you've got the Indian Pale Ale. Is that it?
Yeah, the Radial India Pale Ale. Yep.
Nice, very tasty. I know I cracked open a can of the vanilla bean s'mores. Wow. I knew my wife would be all over this one, right? And you crack open the can and you can smell, it smells like a s'more when you crack open a can. It's amazing.
Very tasty. Exotic.
When I was at the tasting room, tons of people just in and out there just buying like cases of beer from them. It's really cool. So check them out. Infusion Brewery, some great flavors. And I did have a Let It Fly tonight at the game. Very tasty. Very tasty. Has a hint. I don't know if this is correct, the tasting, but it has a hint of grapefruit. Very good. Very good. I was pleasantly surprised. And the can the graphics on the can are phenomenal.
Good. The can looks good. It's a
really cool looking can. All right. As we mentioned before, if you go to Twitter at Blue Jay Banner, we just posted a link a little while ago. There's a link to our podcast right now. You can click on that link and join us for more conversation. Zach, do we have any comments from anybody yet?
Just one, same person as before, that says that younger people did also dislike the new song.
Oh, so it wasn't just an old guy like me.
It wasn't just the old people like you. No, it was young people as well.
Well, see, what
was the song?
I have no idea. It was like some kind of rap version of something. I don't know. It wasn't. I don't know. And it didn't play very long, and then Jake started the introductions, and you're trying to listen to that, and it was just all muddled. It didn't go well. They got to clean that part up. But yeah, that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about this whole pregame thing, and I knew they're going to change some things, and I was thinking, gosh, I hope they understand who a good chunk of their audience is at the games too. You know what I'm saying? So I know you want to go new, but you can't. Like you got to get everybody on board. So anyway, hey, saw a good buddy Matt Dorwer tonight, Ross.
Yeah, he was texting me. I wonder where he was sitting.
He sits right. Well, you sat in my seats. He sits just across the aisle to the right. That's where he was sitting tonight.
Matt was actually my coach when I went to camp at Creighton. And then
nice.
Whenever I'd see him at the Summer League games at OSA, I'd always go up and say hi to him. But it's probably been 10 years, and a lot happens between 16 and 26, so not sure he'd recognize
Matt looks
me.
even more distinguished now. You know what I mean? But he has agreed, Zach, just to let you know, he has agreed to certainly fill in from time to time, because Ross is kind of a world traveler and likes to go around the country. Jays win 72-60. Yes, that's the correct score, 72-60. The rest of the Big East, Ross, I saw pretty much had their way with people. Xavier won by 30. Butler won by 30 plus. Marquette. I didn't see how they turned out. I think Georgetown plays tomorrow.
They won by 10 against Radford.
By how much?
10.
Oh, well, they struggled then.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, so Butler won by 36 over New Orleans. St. John's 25 over Merrimack. UConn beat Stonehill by 30. Xavier beat Morgan State by 23. Ooh, that could be on bad beats there. Point spread, 23.5. Woohoo! DePaul edged Loyola Maryland by 6. And then you said the Radford score. So there you go. All right. As we hope to do on every game, it's time to view the video highlights of the game. So Zachary, if you've got those ready, pull those up at any point.
Yep.
And excited to see what some of the highlights of the game. Matt Schumacher and Nick Baugh tonight on the call. Interesting.
Seasons in Creighton basketball history, ranked number 9.
And
the best preseason ranking in Creighton basketball history.
Hey, I was happy all the floor seats were filled tonight.
They have talked about Final Four national championship, but they've continued to work here. But Culpeper could score in the post. He was number 1 in the Big East in field goal percentage, shooting 64%. And he's the reigning Big East Defensive Player of the Year, and he alters that shot. M. Hard. Alexander.
That was a great put by Kaluma, man. Great put back. This is when we were kind of rolling a little bit here.
He certainly looks the part.
Because we got up 26-11.
We're up even I think it's 28-11. I thought it was.
I think it was 28-13, and that was the largest lead, I want to say. It was 15.
Mason Miller looked good tonight.
He did.
He did some nice things.
There's 23-9. That's, like you said, 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes, I think Creighton looked the part and looked like everybody thought they would look, right?
No doubt about it.
Good rebound from Trey Alexander.
Here's kind of where I thought maybe we started settling for threes a little bit. And again, to Coach Huss's point, it's kind of what the defense was giving us. Trey had some really good looks tonight. He, and you Ross, you talked about making shots. I mean, his first two were both in and out. I mean, they were right there.
That was a big three.
Yeah, it
before the end of
was.
the half.
Couldn't agree more, Ross. Right at the end of the half, kind of stretched it out to 5. I think you feel a little better at that point. I think it's kind of interesting that both the exhibition game and the second half of this game, our defense has cranked it up in the second half.
Left-handed shot goes down. Alexander scored over the Big East Defensive Player of the Year. Alexander off the inbound.
Ross, were you surprised how they took it at Kalkbrenner tonight?
Quite honestly, a little bit. I mean, I just thought their entire team did not play scared whatsoever. I
No.
thought they were really aggressive. They were
Comes out, the freshman
playing like a team that had
King
zero
is on.
clue. I was impressed.
Here's Sharif Mitchell back into the game for the first time this half.
I think your comment about Sharif was right on, too. He just looks a little bit rusty is the best word.
He hasn't played. I mean, I can't blame him.
Yeah.
After Creighton made a 3, the crowd was into it. You call timeout. You get the crowd
And, you know,
out,
that
and then
was the other thing. They kind of
knock
answered.
down a 3.
St. Thomas kind of answered a couple times. It looks like Creighton was going to go on a big run there about that 11-minute mark.
Totally.
And,
I was impressed with number 3. He's a true freshman from
oh, my
Milwaukee.
God, yes.
He's a nice player.
You know, it reminds me of a bigger version of, was it Stutz from Drake?
He
It
can
looks like
shoot
a
it.
bigger
That's
version of him.
Yeah, but he can't shoot it like this kid can.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. But remember, we talked about this about 2-3 weeks ago, and I said, Ross, St. Thomas. See, I wouldn't schedule St. Thomas. I just wouldn't. I'm sorry. You got a really experienced coach. It's a good coach. You've got a program. By the way, I got to mention this before I forget. Oh, my God. I was downtown in an establishment before the game. There had to have been more than 100 Thomas gears.
I said the same thing in my family's group chat. I saw a lot more people in St. Thomas stuff than I would have anticipated. I think there's probably a lot of Catholic school people from Omaha that went to St. Thomas and are alums. You know?
Yeah. I agree. There are. My buddy Schmitty I was with the game with. He was saying, his nephew, like, he went to Creighton and a whole bunch of his other buddies went to St. Thomas. You know, I mean, it's just. I was amazing. I talked to a few of them, and they were from Minneapolis. They came down for the game. Like,
and it wasn't a foregone conclusion for much of this game.
And there it was, 72-60. Yeah, I mean, it was impressive, and that's why I think they're going to be so valuable to the Summit League because their fans travel pretty well,
and they're going to get good quick.
Yes.
I'd be shocked if they don't.
Like Mac, I listened to a little bit of Mac's post game tonight too, and he was saying how well coached that team was. I mean, amazing.
A lot of players with IQs. They did a lot of read and react on offense. I mean, they didn't need to have a set play or just kind of a one-on-one every single time down. I mean, these are a bunch of kids that know how to move without the ball and set screens away from the ball, set ball screens, slip screens. I mean, they really knew what they were doing offensively.
Yeah, I kind of want to just take a look at the stats tonight. And, you know, as I said, St. Thomas was at 55% with about 7 minutes to go from 3, and we were at about 20. I mean, that's a huge gap difference. I mean, we ended up 8 for 34. Gosh, they only put up 22. It seemed like they put up more than that. They were 9 of 22, and they missed what did they miss? Probably their last 6. They were getting a little.
They were getting tired at the end. They struggled.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say that. I mean, some of their shots at the end weren't even close, where earlier they were hitting nothing but net. But they shot, overall the game, they shot 41%. We shot 39%. So we got outshot by them. And rebounding was fairly close, too. That was another factor, the fact that, you know, we weren't getting a whole lot of offensive rebounds in that second half when we were missing those shots, too. And that kind of kept St. Thomas in the game. Arthur Kaluma led the way with 17 points tonight. He had 17 points in 8. That was kind of a quiet 17-8 for Arthur, I thought. but you could tell for the most part when he got a guy on his hip, he was, you could just tell. I mean, that's a 5-star athlete there, and he's gonna get to the rim. And I thought Arthur overall played pretty well. I don't know if he had his best defensive game. Ryan Kalkbrenner, nine rebounds, 8 points, as Coach Huss said. That's pretty darn good for a guy who's sicker than a dog.
Yep.
Ryan Nemhard had 9 points. He had 1 rebound. He had 5 assists. So we didn't have that many. We only had 11 assists tonight, too. That's another thing where normally we have a lot of assists on made baskets. Trey Alexander, solid performance. He had 12 points, 3 rebounds. He was only 1 for 5 from 3, but as I said, he had like 2 or 3 that were in and out. Baylor Schreiman, the big star tonight, 11 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. Nice game for Baylor. Nice, solid opening performance for him. I thought Frederick King gave us some good minutes, didn't you, Ross?
Yeah, I like Fred King. I think he's going to be a very good player.
Hit some free throws tonight, which is nice.
Speaking of Power 5 teams that struggled, we were talking about this earlier. USC lost to Florida Gulf Coast.
Oh, really? See, there again, why do you schedule Florida Gulf Coast? I don't know why you do that.
There's added insult to injury there, too, isn't there? With
yes, there certainly is.
Going from Florida Gulf Coast to USC.
Great calls, Zach. Maybe that's why he scheduled the game. Remember back, this is a long time ago for you kids, but way back when Oklahoma State played Creighton, the great Eddie Sutton scheduled the game because, he had coached at Creighton. And then that's when Creighton went on a 7-0 run, and Doug Gottlieb was his point guard.
Gottlieb game, yep.
Gottlieb threw about 5 into the crowd on trying to throw it into the post. And Buford and Sears went nuts right at the end, and Creighton pulled out the victory. And I remember after the game in the paper, Eddie Sutton said, well, I was really happy to come back to Creighton, but I really was not happy that I came here and let them beat us. I think they're number 11 in the country at the time, too. Yeah, it's dangerous when you do those games. Farabella had 2 points, and then Mason Miller, as we said, nice game for Mason. 8 points, 3 rebounds. Nice job, Mason.
Did some nice things off the bench.
Yeah, he looked good. That's the Mason. Some people said the exhibition game. We go, wow, I didn't see much Mason. Tonight was the Mason I've seen in practice. That was the guy. But again, didn't shoot the ball well. Kalk severely under the weather. St. Thomas doing some things. That's just a well coached team and a really crafty coach that can go out there and put together a game plan that really befuddled us. But Coach Huss said too, we hit like 3 of those threes at the beginning of the game, and then we just roll. Then we're up 25 there midway through the first half. For you keeping score at home, so St. Thomas covered easily, and the game did go under the total. For anybody that's keeping score at home, I'm just saying. So Jays 1-0, and they head back to the CHI on Thursday night to take on the University of North Dakota Fighting Hawks, a.k.a. Fighting Sioux. Mac has a little connection there with North Dakota. Some of his assistants, I think, is that his assistant that's still coaching there? I think it is. Is it not, or a former player? I know at one time there was a former player that was coaching UND, and so Mac has we played UND a fair amount of times. I seem to think, maybe no, might not. We've played them a couple times, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Played North Dakota State as well. Of course, obviously Mac connections there too, but I think it's actually an easier game. It's interesting that we don't play. We play those 2 schools, but we don't play South Dakota or South Dakota State.
Don't seem to play them.
I remember.
I mean,
when was it? Was it 2016 we played South Dakota and it went to overtime?
Yeah, and then And there's another game. If you played South Dakota State, I'd be saying, why do you schedule them? That's what I would be saying, right? I mean, seriously, why would you? You know, you don't want to play that team. That's just, you know, if you're going to play a bye game, play a bye game. That's always been my philosophy. It shows up bigger in football, like these people that schedule South Dakota State, North Dakota State, some of these, like, why do you do that? Georgia State, why do you schedule
Georgia
them?
Southern.
Yeah, why do you schedule those teams? Like so in college basketball, it'd be North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Florida Gulf Coast. You know, I wouldn't schedule those teams. I'm sorry, I just wouldn't. All right, any other thoughts, Ross?
I got nothing. 1-0 feels good though. Doesn't matter how you got there.
Yeah, let's see. Thursday, like Coach Huss said, let's see. You know, let's see how they play us. He thinks they're going to play us more straight up. And let's see how, you know, in 3 days, Kalkbrenner's a lot better health. And let's see how things turn out then.
I'm with you. There.
By the way, everybody watching this, everybody watches our replays, because I know tons of you do. Make sure and hit that subscribe button. We've been blowing up here the last few days. So we want to keep this trend going, because the bigger it gets, the more things we can do for you. Thank you, Zach, for all your hard work. Thanks to Infusion for the victory beer. We'll have more of those. And we'll be right back here joining you. What do we got? We got a 7:30 tip or a 7 o'clock tip on? Anybody
I have
know?
no idea.
Let me check it out here. Let me check it out before we go. I want to say it's a 7 o'clock tip. Of course, I can't find it.
I think it's 8, actually. I think it's a late game.
Oh no, Ross. Don't say that. Ross, that's not good. 8 o'clock tips are you are the king of hating 8 o'clock tips.
I think it's the worst.
It is.
You are
indeed an
absolutely
8
right.
o'clock Tip. Yep.
It is indeed an 8 o'clock tip on FS1. Huh? Oddly, there must be a Big Ten game or something on FS1 first, because the only other Big East game is Central Michigan and Marquette, and that's on FS2 at 7. So that would put us, I'm going to say 10:30-ish on our instant reaction show. So join us then about 10:30, and we will have a show for you. I don't know. Are you going to be available, Ross?
I don't know yet. Trying to figure something out about Thursday night. I will chat with you offline about
Because I know you love those 8 o'clock starts.
They're terrible.
All right. Well, let's hope we get everything put together pregame. Let's hope the team plays a little better. Let's have a big 30-point win against North Dakota on Thursday night as we inch ever closer to that big Maui tournament. Boy, we got some work to do if we're going to be we need to get everybody healthy and then be competing in that tournament. All right. Thanks, Ross. Thanks, Zach. Thanks to everybody listening.